Hello, and welcome to Explain the Meta Missile Chariots. So, as per usual, this video pertains primarily to domination, though this information can help you in land battles and campaign as well, if that's your thing. So, Missile Chariots. They function a lot like skirmish cav. They're quick, they shoot hard, they hit really hard with their missiles, and they're hard to catch. They have a lot of the same strength as skirmish cav, as we referenced in that video, where they are very hard to deal with, they're very hard to shut down. They can just keep moving. They can take their engagements with because of their speed and their range, and they can do considerable damage without taking any in return. Missile Chariots take this even a step further, where they have a remarkable ability to shake off damage. Not so much shake off, but they're very hard to shut down because, unlike skirmish cav, Missile Chariots have only 4 models. This means that when a Missile Chariot takes damage, it's very likely that all of their models will survive that damage, unless it's a very considerable amount of damage. Which means that their combat effectiveness is not reduced in any way until you can actually kill a model. And when they have very healthy HP pools, they have 4,800 on 4 models, it means each model has 1,200 HP. That means you have to do 1,200 HP damage to one of these models before they have any reduction in their combat ability. Now, this can be very difficult to do because you cannot prioritize targeting one model over another. You can simply target a unit. So most times when you're shooting it, or you're going in melee, the damage will be spread out. This means that it can be very difficult to actually remove a model and lower their damage output. As well as, it means they're an excellent target for healing spells like Earthblood or the Patriarch's passive healing. Or I believe it's Salyak's Winter Lullaby, something like that. On top of that, they also have armor and high speed, which means that most things that can catch them can't do a whole lot of damage to them because of their high armor. And even things that could catch them, things like Seekers or Hellstriders, that Slashy Cat that's super fast, actually really struggle to connect with them in melee. War Wagons have this, well, War Wagons and other chariots. Like I said, this primarily pertains to War Wagons, Scourge Runners, and Kislev Bear Sleds. Most of the missile chariots aren't very strong in their missile attacks. They're not actually worth bringing most of the time. Most of those are just usually outclassed by the more standard chariot variant. Their missile attacks aren't very strong or worth bringing. But they have this phenomenon where when they're running away from a cav unit, that cav unit very often struggles to connect their animations in melee. They run at the unit, they try to stop and attack, and while they stop, the War Wagons get out of range, again, or any of the other chariots, they get out of range and don't actually take the damage from that attack. So despite actually being on paper countered by cavalry or any other large monsters, they rarely actually take much damage, which makes them incredibly difficult to shut down, more so than even skirmish cav. On top of that, their shooting is much more effective at killing those large targets. They have very high missile strength, and it's usually AP, so they can actually tear apart those big cav or monsters that are chasing them. So when you send a cav unit after them, the cav unit often ends up taking much more damage than the War Wagon or the Scourge Runner or the Bears themselves. All these things combined make them very problematic to deal with, on top of just the sheer amount of raw DPS they can put out over time with their massive missile strength and ammunition count. Some of these problems are worse with some chariots than others, but those are the general principles. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you found it helpful. We'll be having more educational combat content coming out in the near future, so make sure to turn for that. Thank you so much. See you next time.